Hello guys, today is March 8th, 2020, and this is the Japan coronavirus update. Today, right now, the last updated numbers that I have is 471 cases. And I want to bring up a point here that only 8,000 people in this country have been tested. So if you were to take the 471 cases divided by the 8,000 somewhat cases that have been tested, you get a 5.8 positivity rate. So according to this site over here, it updates live about all the other countries that are having a coronavirus outbreak. It updates their numbers every so often. Very reliable source in my opinion. As of February 26th, South Korea has tested 66,652 people, and that gave them a 4.3 positivity rate within those people, and Italy with 5.0. So I'm here to suggest that if Japan even remotely tested the amount of people like we've seen in South Korea or Italy or even Iran, would you see the similar amount of cases? And I want to make this case because Japan is basically like one ocean, one sea away from China. It's geographically very close to China, and not only that, but there's no travel restrictions up until this point. So for Japan to say and come out and say there's only 400 cases or whatever, it's just hard to believe when a country like South Korea, who's doing even more vigorous testing, has shown that they have a bigger problem on their hands. So do they not want to test people is the question, or or do they not have the capacity is the two questions that I really want to ask. There's evidence to support either of those concerns. One, maybe they don't want to test people because the upcoming Olympics and a greater increase of confirmed cases is going to scare off a lot of the rest of the world, as we have seen with people banning people coming in from certain countries. So is Japan doing that to kind of make themselves look like they kind of have it under control? If you look at the graph that shows the increase of cases on a daily basis, we've kind of seen not an exponential growth like we've seen with other countries. Now in the European Union and the United States have seen an exponential growth. But a place like Japan, I don't understand why they're not seeing the same kind of trend, especially being very close and doing relatively nothing to combat the virus in the beginning of the stages anyways. So the Minister of Health said that by the end of March, they're going to be able to test 7,000 people a day. That is not good, because not only is that not going to be in effect for like the whole month of March, but that's not a lot of testing kits. Other countries are testing that amount of people a day already, like South Korea, and so why is Japan waiting till the end of March to roll this out? I don't understand. It kind of shows that they are lagging with the combating of this virus, and maybe they just don't really care, or maybe they're trying to be complacent or just bat a blind eye to this. Either way, it's unacceptable that this isn't going to be in effect until the end of March. They did put some travel restrictions. I don't necessarily want to call them travel restrictions though, because they're only going to quarantine people coming from South Korea and China. Not ban them, but quarantine them. And as we've seen with the handling of the cruise ship and how they tried to quarantine that, and it turned out to be a hot mess, I don't know if they would be able to enforce that same kind of thing with visitors from other countries. Japan is very bureaucratic, and we all have seen the issue with bureaucracy, or big bureaucracy at this point. So obviously bureaucracy has proven that they are horrible at enforcing basically anything they want to do. So in response, South Korea was kind of not so happy about the idea that Japan is going to quarantine visitors from South Korea now. They decided after that they were going to ban visa-free entry from Japan. So the visas that are already issued right now is going to become invalidated. I wonder if that was just a political response to Japan quarantining its people because they were unhappy that they're going to do that, or if it's maybe because South Korea kind of has an idea of maybe what might be going on. under the radar in Japan, because Japan seems reluctant to be testing people up until even to this point. And so I wonder if it's either political or if they have like a really good reason to back that up, which I can't blame South Korea. You really should ban people from, I think a lot of countries should close their borders with a lot of countries, so I don't blame South Korea for doing it. They have a problem of their own right now anyways. So it could be a lack of trust with Japan right now with their numbers, or it could be a political response, who knows. So my last video I mentioned about how Mainichi Newspaper were saying that it was fake news about toilet paper being, on the low, and people are actually panic buying toilet paper, and they were making this claim that it was fake news, that it's not actually happening. But NHK here is saying, the same day I actually published my video, was that they are in fact panic buying toilet paper. And that's true. It's been going on for since January now. There's been limits on toilet paper here in Japan for a long time, even before coronavirus was really taking a hold here anyways. But if somebody could explain the phenomenon with hoarding toilet paper besides anything else, you should have a steady supply of toilet paper, but people buying 15 packs of toilet paper, I just really want the explanation or justification for that, because you should be buying other stuff too. It's not just toilet paper, but it seems like people are so fixated on this toilet paper thing, and I don't really understand that one, but they should be fixating on other things. They should be buying some other things too. So in terms of the economy, this article here says that 90% of firms have seen the effects of, the coronavirus. So I actually decided to investigate myself to see what kind of effects are going on where I live. So I decided to go to a mall. This mall is home to, it was basically created and aimed towards the Chinese and Korean tourists that visit where I live. And so here we have cut hours. I don't know what cutting hours is going to do with helping the spread of coronavirus, but anyways, they're cutting the hours of operation at this mall. It seemed very, very empty. Now, mind you, you would be bumping into people every step of the way inside this mall, but it seems like a ghost town. And it's a Sunday, so it should be a hot mess in there, as it always has been. But today it was not. So there's absolutely no people there. So I decided, there's a drugstore in the mall. I'm going to go see if there's any effects going on there. And obviously there are no masks for sale. They put a big sign there in all types of languages to tell people, hey, there's no masks. They pulled testers aside. So, you go to a drugstore, you can test out makeup or all these other stuff. There's usually testers out for these things, but they said to combat the coronavirus spread, you cannot be using the testers, which is, I guess it makes sense. It's kind of effective. I see where they're going with that. So, and at the entrance of the mall, they have hand sanitizer. During the flu season, this is very common here, but the only thing that's not common is it being locked up and, secured so that people don't steal it. So I thought that was really hilarious and funny that a mall has to go as far as locking up hand sanitizers that would otherwise be, free to use for anyone else on a regular season. But with the coronavirus, they're locking up hand sanitizer, I guess, so people don't steal them, I guess. I don't know. But I guess the situation here is escalating, and I would like to hear your thoughts on why Japan doesn't seem to be having that many cases. I mean, I have my own opinion. I'm here to suggest that, hey, don't test. If you can't test anyone, you can't have the coronavirus, right? I think that's the same tactic that the United States is using at this point too. So I wonder if that has anything to do with it. I definitely think the Olympics is a very big influential motive behind not testing people, because yet again, you have to meet certain guidelines, and if you don't meet them, then then you're just not going to get tested for it. So I wonder what their motive, or what your thoughts on what their motive is for this underreporting that seems to be going on. And that's about all for today, guys, and see you next time.